Guys, welcome back to our final segment on today's Talkin Old School Special Edition tribute to the 1969 Florida Gators. Well, we've heard the story of the Gators, and now we're going to hear the final wrap-up 40 years later. We're going to go around the table and ask the guys, what do they think? Max Steen, 40 years later, give us your thoughts on the 1969 Florida Gators.
It's been said many times by a lot of great football coaches that playing a contact sport like football is the closest thing to going to war without really going to war and killing people. And we all know the bonds that people forge when they're put in tight situations together. Our team went through a lot of tight situations, and especially we seniors. So just the very fact that we've hung together through that last season, and it ended up such a wonderful time for all of us, and we've all stayed very close ever since then. Urban talks about family and how, look at the guy next to you. This guy's going to be one of your best friends for the rest of your life. And that's really what I think about when I think about the 69 team. We were we got there as a bunch of kids. We ended up having a great senior season. We were able to play for a great university and great coaches and get a great education and go on from that point and continue to be wonderful friends and supporters of each other. And so that's what I think about when I think about the 69 Gators. Tommy, John, Steve, Mike, all. Family.
Tom Abelnauer.
Well, I think we achieved the goal that we really set out to in the beginning of that season, and that is to have a great season. And we ended it on a great note. I think everybody couldn't be any more satisfied than what we already accomplished. So that was, one of the best things that touches my heart. But as Max said, we are family. Here we are back together again after 40 years. There's 60 of us today gathering to celebrate those times in our friendship. And it's hard to do that. It's not easy to do that. It's difficult to do that, and we're doing it. And I tell you, there's not a guy on this team that I can't say I don't love. I do. I love every one of them, and that'll be the way for me till I'm gone. And like they say, you're not a Gator just for 4 years. You're a Gator for the rest of your life.
John Reeves.
That's right. Well, thank you. It was such a great honor to play for that team, to play at the University of Florida. When it was almost like Camelot, like going to football heaven, And we played for the state championship when I was in high school. I played 13 years of pro football. There's no team that I ever played on was as special as this one. And it was 1969. Our country was changing. That was the year we put a man on the moon. That was the 100th year anniversary of college football that particular year. And it was the 69 Gators, and we had the best record in Florida history up until 1991. And it's special that we can get together here 40 years later, 40-year reunion. Here we are, put a man on the moon in 1969, and we put the Gators on the map. So I'm just happy to have been a part of it, and I'm thrilled to be here today.
Steve Tannen.
When you're a member of a team sport, there's a certain kind of camaraderie that you experience, and that's a wonderful thing, and you can't get it in any other thing except maybe, like Max said, in wartime. And then on top of that, if you're lucky enough to be part of a team that does something out of the ordinary, does something different, exceeds expectations, wins the Gator Bowl, gives their heart and soul to the discovery of Gatorade. Their heart and sweat, actually. But I mean, that's a joke. But we were all part of something, and I think that's why we can get together 40 years later, and there could be so many of us here because we experienced something that's a little bit beyond the regular team sport. We won this game. We overcame some under expectations by people, and so that makes us proud and gets us, drawn a little bit closer together. So I'm really proud to be part of this team and to still know these guys and can look them in the eye, and we all know we've been the same place.
Mike Kelly.
It started off early in the summer. There were many of us that stayed for summer school and practiced together and put in extra effort, guys that stayed together at these special dormitories. And, I mean, we worked our butts off all summer to get ready for that season. So it started off with extra effort. We had guys that were on the second team and third team of that team that pushed every one of us. They were unsung heroes that when we'd go out to practice, they would let us know that they were there, and they were giving us the kind of competition that we needed to become as good of a team, as great of a team as we became that year. So we had a lot of great teammates that helped us. And then one of my fondest memories was the game after Tennessee, and I was the most valuable player. I went up to the podium to receive the award, and I remember going up there, and Gene Ellenson had been such a great influence in my life and so many of us. And I remember walking past Reynolds and Kiner and seeing their sneer and their whole team looking like that, we didn't deserve to win. And I had heard the rumor that their coach was going to be our next coach. And I got up in front of the whole group and started saying, Gene Ellenson is going to be, if there's going to be a new head coach at the University of Florida, my vote's for Gene Ellenson. Well, I paid for it the next year, but they had a vote for captain, and they took three times they took votes to make sure I was the one that won the captain's vote. But I remember that last game and what Gene Ellenson meant to me. Coach Graves was awesome, but being on the defense, Gene Ellenson was such a great influence on my life. So I knew that moment, which was my biggest moment of my career, was something I wanted to dedicate to him.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. That completes our program. And thank you for joining us today's edition, special tribute to 1969 Florida Gators.
Go Gators.
Thank you, Roger.
Thanks, Roger.
Hey.
Thank you.
I think they ought to.
Go Gators. I think they ought to computerize our team against the Gator team this year.
That's right.